chapter 1. Thank you for my turn here, if you didn't know what it's up for, this is from the 6th, okay? So, my thought is, this, you know, we've heard several messages lately about being deceived and how deceitful the false teaching of the world is, and, you know, warning to our young people and us older ones as well, be careful. But, I wanna kind of look at the other side of that tonight, for young people. Just, young people have been on the hard boat, certainly it's for all of us, but, just to not hang your head. You don't have to give in to the devil.
Right.
You don't have to go his way.
Yeah.
You have a choice. And too much of the time, I've chose to go my way or his way instead of what the Lord wanted. It don't work out too well. But if you stick with him and stick with his way, it'll work out well.
Amen.
You'll accomplish great things. And, you know, I want to start with saying I thank the Lord for the young people we have here.
Amen.
I came here about 21 years ago. And at that time, there wasn't any kids. Leanne and Nathan, how old was Leanne then? 12, 13, and Nathan dropped there close, and that was it. No babies. Luke was on the way, and now look around, there's about 20 of them. 17 or 18, I didn't count them, there's 7. You know, everybody was talking, what we gonna do, we got no kids, no young. God brought them along.
Amen. Right.
And I'm gonna tell you, thank you for being here, being faithful. A lot of you's got your license, could be anywhere tonight that you wanted to be. It's your choice to be here. You didn't have to come, but I want to say thank you for coming.
Yeah.
And keep on coming. It'll work. If you'll look around you, these people sitting around here tonight, they're on your side. They'll do anything for you, anytime. And they're proving fact that it works. Miss Ruby, how long have you been coming here?
About 80 years.
Amazing. It really hit me as we were talking about helping the older ones with their heating bills a while back. We come up with 8 or 10, wasn't it? That was over 80 years old. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
That's a blessing.
Amen.
Young people, it tells you it works.
Amen.
Stay in there. Don't
Right.
quit.
That's right.
You know, it's easy to say, well, and I'm the world's worst to say, the young nowadays are just sorry you don't get it. But they're not all that way. They're some of the best ones I know sitting here tonight. And don't let the world cheat you. Don't let them beat you down. God's still in control. And you've got big shoes to fill. These that have been here 80 years, gonna be going on, it'll be left for you to do.
Yeah.
So, stand in there. Don't quit. There's plenty of opportunity to quit. And we'll see in what we're studying tonight, there's opportunity after opportunity to quit. Devil's always throwing it out there, you ought to just quit. You ought to just quit. So when he says that, you got a choice. You quit, you keep going.
Yeah.
I encourage you to keep going. It's
Amen.
worth it. There's friends of yours that's lost, that needs it. They see it. You say, well, I don't understand about it. They know. Your friends know where you're at tonight. They know you're at church. They know that's where you go on Wednesday night. And they might not ever say it. You may not think it, but they do. So keep on. Don't quit. Daniel, 1st chapter, verse 8. Very familiar. Everybody knows it. But Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the course of the king's meat, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore he requested of the prince of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself. So, you know the story here. They picked out these, over in verse 4 it says, children in whom no blemish. So these were young people. Don't know how old they are. Don't know how old they were. But I assume from everything I gathered about teenage years. They were young. And it's awful easy to kind of brush into the side and say, oh, they can't do anything. You look at Daniel, you look at David and Goliath, what he did. You don't have to be old. Do it while you're young, while your mind's still good, while you still feel good.
Man.
Because the day's coming when your mind won't be good, you won't feel good, as good, but do it while you can. And the world's watching you, and they're seeing something fantastic. They're seeing God in you. You can't do it on your own. You'll fail every time. You trust in Him, you'll do great things.
Right.
Great things, things that matter. It's great to get awards down here and do things down here, but the rewards you putting up in heaven wouldn't matter.
Man.
So hang in there. Don't quit. We're on your side. Best of all, God's on your side.
Right.
He cares about you. Said over there, His thoughts of us are more than sand. Ever thought about that? Think about the grains of sand at the beach. How many there are? You could never count them. That's how much He thinks of you.
Amen.
His thoughts of you all the time. Somebody's thinking about you. You can always say that and it'll be true. Somebody's thinking about you. He's always thinking about you. He has your best interest in mind. He knows what route you need to take. If you'll listen to Him, He'll lead you that way. It says, though they were tempted, here Daniel was tempted to eat the king's meat. He knew it wasn't right. He purposed in his heart, determined he wasn't going to go the way of the world. Determined he was going to follow God. And that's a good lesson for all of us. We need to do the same. And we go on down, you know the story there. He said, pretty sharp for a teenager, wasn't he? He said, I'll tell you, he told the prince of the eunuchs there, he said, I'm not going to eat the king's meat. You need to get me out of this so I don't defile myself. And he got scared. He said, well, they'll chop my head off if I don't make you do this. He said, I'll tell you what, till you feed us folks to eat and water to drink and compare the two of us after a week's time, around one it was, see who looks the best. Pretty sharp for a teenager. We don't give them enough credit a lot of times. They're pretty wise. And it's a blessing. But you'll never go wrong going with God. But He said, prove us 10 days and let us see what it looks like. And that got him out of eating the king's meat. God's always got a way. He's way ahead of you.
Right.
He knows what's coming tomorrow, next week, next year, 10 years from now, whatever it is. He knows all about it. That's hard for my own mind to comprehend. But I think about it often when I'm driving to work. Lord, you know what today holds. I don't. I'm glad I don't. It might scare me to death if I knew. But He knows. He knows what it holds. He knows what I need to get me through that day. He knows if it's my last day. He knows all those things. So, don't fail to trust Him in it. You can put all the confidence in the world and everybody said in this room, I promise you. But we will fail you eventually. We'll let you down, not intentionally, but we'll let you down. He'll never fail you.
Right.
Ever. It won't happen.
Right.
And God help us to get a hold of that and we live that way. I think things will be a lot different. Like Brother Sanford says, you change people's lives. We had that on our minds. So, again, you look at the opportunity they have to quit. You know, when they come out with this decree about the king's meat, very good chance to quit. Lay her down, go to the house, don't do it anymore. Forget about it. But he didn't quit. And you go on down here in verse 19, look at this 19, and the king communed with them, and among them all was found none like Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, Azariah, therefore stood they before the king. So here the king thinks a lot of them. They're buddying up with the king, he's taking good care of them. But he's not the king. He's not their God, he's just a king. He's going to fail them, he's going to turn on them. It says, in all manners of wisdom and understanding, that the king inquired of them, he found them 10 times better than all the magicians and astrologers that were in all his realm. And Daniel continued even in the first year of King Cyrus. So God bless them with wisdom. And again, you gotta think, these are teenagers. We don't think of teenagers as having wisdom usually. You think of teenagers as thinking they know everything, but they don't. That's not the truth all the time. They can do great things for God. And a lot of times we don't give them credit enough, I think. It's not just the old ones. Young men, you're a member of this church, you got just as much right as I do to vote. You know, don't be afraid to make a second in a business meeting and all that good stuff. It could be a blessing, be a help. You're part of it. Get in there, and I appreciate the ones that lead prayer and have done prayer meetings. It's just a blessing. Don't quit. Keep going. God will help you with it. And we've got lots of talent in the church, and I appreciate you using it for the Lord. Don't quit that either. It's a blessing. We don't always tell you like we should, I'm sure, but it blesses people when you do things like that.
Amen.
Just remember that God's got what you need, no matter what comes.
Right.
We've seen some hard things come through here in the last year and a half. Really hard things. You know, they usually say, what's the percentage, 1 in 3 gets cancer? Well, we've outdone that by a long ways. We're running 60-some people, and I think there's 6 now. That's 10%. That's a pretty high number. Guess what? They're all still here. God's still helping them.
Right.
And
Amen.
it's because people have been praying.
Amen.
And we find that that's what Daniel did. He just kept on praying. These other 3 fellows kept on praying. And then another thought there is with these 4, Daniel and the other 3, they were friends. Be careful who your friends are.
Right.
You,
Yes, sir.
You put yourself around good friends, you go a long ways for God.
Yeah.
It'll help you. Thank the Lord I had good friends growing up. They kept me out of a lot of trouble. We held each other accountable, not meaning to.
Right.
We didn't intend to do that, but we did. We went to church together, and you know, we stayed together a lot, and we kept each other out of trouble. It was a blessing. So surround yourself with good friends.
Yes.
Don't mean you can't have friends that aren't saved. They need you too. But your tight group of friends, those that are saved around you, will be a great help to you.
Yes.
Hang on to that.
Yeah.
Cling to that. Chapter 3, verse 1. So we get into the very familiar scripture here. Nebuchadnezzar the king made an image of gold whose height was 60 cubits, and breadth thereof 6 cubits. He set it up in the plain of Dura, and in the province of Babylon. So he built this monstrosity of a golden image 9 feet tall. Told everybody every time the music played, they had to fall down and worship. That's the craziest thing I ever heard of. But it's happening all around the world today. They say scat and everybody goes. They tell the world to do about anything, they do it. Same way. But these fellas wasn't about to bow down. They knew it wasn't right. They knew wasn't supposed to worship something like that. They worshiped God. But anyway, the decree come out. Here they go again. Here's the choice again. They got the choice. They can bow down to everybody else, or they can stay with God. Here's their opportunity to quit. You can quit and get out of this now, and you can be on your merry way and be happy. Not really. Or you can go with God. And it happens to all of us all the time, still today. We have choices daily. What are we going to do? Will we go with Him, or we go with God? Will we quit, or we keep going? Always choices. Be careful what choice you make. So we see this decree come out, and these fellows weren't going to bow down. In verse 11, and whoso falleth not down to worship, that he should be cast in the midst of the burning fire furnace. So this was a consequence. They didn't worship. If you don't fall down when this music plays and worship this thing I built up, and I'm going to throw you in the fire. It's pretty serious, isn't it? That's a pretty good place to quit too. You're going to throw me in the fire, well, that might rethink this thing. I don't know if I want to go through this or not. but they knew who they served. Verse 12 says, there are certain Jews who set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, have not regarded thee. They serve not thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Then Nebuchadnezzar, in his rage and fury, commanded to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then they brought these men before the king. All of a sudden, their buddy, the king, ain't their buddy anymore. He's mad at him now. He's getting ready to throw him in the fire. Again, another chance to quit. Nebuchadnezzar spake and said to them, is this true? O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, do not ye serve my gods, nor worship the golden image which I have set up. Now, if you be ready, at what time you hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, dulcimer, and all kinds of music, you fall down and worship the image which I have made. Well, but if you worship not, you shall be cast the same hour in the midst of the burning fire furnace. And who is that God that shall deliver you out of my hand? Now, ain't that something? Okay, maybe you didn't hear me the first time. Here, go ahead and try it again. If you'll go ahead and do it this time, I'll let you buy it. Another chance to quit. They could have given in, they could have bowed down, and enough said. They could have quit. There will always be opportunities for you to quit. Always. But don't ever quit. There's too much at stake to quit. It says, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, and remember, again, it's teenagers we're talking about. They've just been threatened to throw them in the fire. And here's their answer. Said the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. If it be so, our God, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the burning fire furnace. He will deliver us out of thine hand, O king. They had confidence. That's pretty strong words for a teenage boy to stand up and say in front of the king.
Right.
How did they do it? God's on their side.
Right.
God's helping them. He's leading them. He says, if you throw us in there, God's going to get us out. He's going to take care of us. 18, but if not, be it known unto thee, O king, we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. In other words, we know God's going to get us out of there, but if you don't, we're still not going to bow down. We'll see you later. They had some grit. That's what we need today, people. Grit. It's missing. There's not much of that.
Right.
Probably a lot of people don't know what grit means. Toughness. Determination. You know, get in there and stay in there. Go with it. Believe God. He's able. He'll take care of you. It says then Nebuchadnezzar was full of fury, and the form of his visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. His kingdom was their friend, not the friend anymore. So be careful. Therefore he spake and commanded that they should heat the furnace 7 times more than it wont to be heated. And we all know the story. The men that carried him up there to throw him in got burned up. Amazing. You just stop and think about it. You think about a furnace and a roaring fire and how hot it is just way back here. You think of being thrown in it. They might have been singing all the way, I don't know. I wouldn't doubt it as confident as they were talking to the king over there. They might have been singing Amazing Grace when they threw them in there, I don't know. But they were sure that God was going to take care of them. And the reason they were sure because he took care of them before. He's going to continue to. He says, then these were men were bound in their coats and their hosen and their hats and their garments and were cast in the midst of the burning fire furnace. So get ready. If you choose to go with God, you're going to have to go through the fire. Right. Again, that's another opportunity to say, I just quit. I don't want to do that. But know that he's in the fire already. He knows when the fire's coming. He knows what you need to get through it. He'll take care of it. Right. You can't put any trust in yourself. We're all in the same boat. Just old sinners, good for nothing. Don't know nothing, can't do anything wrong. But he's got it in control. He knows what it takes. He knows what's coming. He'll take care of it. It says, that these three men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell bound in the midst of the burning fire furnace. So they're bound up down in the furnace. Nothing they can do. They can't get through. They can't get out. They've already told the king he's able to deliver us. They believed him all the way. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished and rose up in haste and spake and said to the counselors, did not we cast three men bound in the midst of the fire? They answered and said, true, O king. He answered and said, lo, I see four men loose, walking in the midst of the fire. They have no hurt, and the form of the fourth is like the Son of God. So now they're loose, walking around inside the fire. What a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
He'll be with you in the fire. He's got what you need during the fire,
Yeah.
during the troubles, during the trials, during the hard times. He'll be with you. Always. He'll never leave you or forsake you. Ever. Never. Period. The end. He won't. He can't. It's hard for our minds to comprehend that. Because everything we know of fails. You know, if you buy a new vehicle, before too long stuff's gonna start tearing up. It's gonna start failing. It's gonna wear out. It's gonna rust. Our bodies start failing. Everything we know of goes away, gets worse, fails.
Mm-hmm.
He will never fail. It will not happen. He won't fail you. So it should behoove us to walk with him. Just trust in him. All your heart. All your heart. Give it all you got. If you're gonna put y'all into something, put it into that. Something worthwhile. Something you know you can have confidence in. Like you say, something that can change people's lives. If you're the greatest basketball star, baseball star, what the whole county's ever seen, in a few years people won't even know your name.
Right.
All well and good while it's going on, it's fun while it's going on, but a few years nobody knows your name.
Mm-hmm.
If you live right and walk close enough to God to lead somebody to him,
Right.
what a great thing that is.
Mm-hmm.
Words can't comprehend it. What a blessing. One of your friends maybe that's lost, if you could have a little part in them getting saved, it'd be worth it all, wouldn't it? It's worth the trouble. It's worth the fight. Don't let the world beat you down. You got a lot of people in here on your side. Best of all, God's got your best interest in mind.
Mm-hmm.
He'll help you every step of the way. He'll never fail you, no matter what. When you're at your lowest point, there ain't nobody else around in the world knows about it, maybe. He's right there. And better than that, he has what you need. Exactly when you need it.
Mm-hmm.
He'll bring it. Just trust him.
Mm-hmm.
Wait on him. Keep on, keep on. Don't let the devil make you quit. There's no place to quit. Youngins, I love you and I appreciate you. I want to encourage you. Keep it up. Don't quit. Don't quit. Well, as long as the Lord tarries, there'll still be youngins coming up. There's a pattern to go by.
Right.
And I'm glad we've had some good patterns in here.
Mm-hmm.
What a blessing. We can have so much full on this and that, that's a blessing. It's only 4, 5, 6 people off from Sunday morning, you not many, that's a blessing. That don't happen too many places. That's a blessing.
Yeah.
Don't take it for granted. Youngins, if you ever get discouraged, look around you. Just turn around and look. They're still here. Miss Ruby's still here. Nate Betts still here. Brother Ed's still back there. Every service. It's amazing. It's a blessing. It's a great thing that we take for granted, right? That's all I got. Anybody got anything? Go ahead.